USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Icy Hot Pro with 2 max strength pain relievers. Targets multiple pain receptors. Ice works fast. Heat makes it last.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
Welcome into the Tour Coach, everybody. I'm your host, Tony Ruggiero, as I am every week in, week out here on the Tour Coach. If you're listening here for the first time, these are stories, interviews, conversations, roundtable discussions with the coaches, the players, the caddies, the mental experts, the fitness experts, all the people that I run into in my travels around the world of golf. And my mission is to help develop as many players from junior golf to college golf to the PGA or the Live Tour, and to help as many golfers lower their handicaps as possible. And these are the stories and the conversations from my travels, from whether it's my home studio in Mobile, Alabama, or my home base, where I'm very proud to be part of the staff down at Old Palm Golf Club with Mark Hackett and Dan Terleski and the staff, or up at Bluebell in Philadelphia. So grab a bag of popcorn, sit back. If you got some questions, always feel free to let us know. The Tour Coach podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Google Play, Apple, anywhere there's podcasts, you could find the Tour Coach. If you like this, we've got a bunch of episodes out there and a bunch of conversations. Some of them are serious. Some of them we have a pretty dang good bit of fun. Actually, most of them we have a pretty dang good bit of fun. And if you like what you hear, you can always find videos and instruction content that goes up daily on our YouTube, Dew Sweeper TV on YouTube. Go check it out. We've got our pro work episodes, which are behind the scenes, inside the ropes, work with players of all abilities, from the tour all the way down to recreational weekend warriors. I think you'll like the inside the ropes, behind the scenes look. And we also have our daily shorts out there that are drills and swings and thoughts to help you play your best golf. So check out Dew Sweeper TV on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and share the Tour Coach if you like it. And as always, special thanks to our sponsors, Shrixon Cleveland Golf, Buick GMC, especially Mitch McConnell, Bushnell Golf, Vineyard Vines, and we couldn't forget Taylor Martino and Rowan and Stokely's Midtown Garden Center. They're all the best. They keep the Tour Coach and the Dew Sweepers rolling. So enjoy this episode, and don't forget to share and like, and let us know who else you'd like to have here on the Tour Coach. All right, so joining me here on the Tour Coach, Major League Baseball great, Kenny Lofton, center fielder. Kenny, thanks for taking the time to join me. And kind of a cool story. I met you on a shuttle bus to a live event in Las Vegas, and we just got talking about golf and live golf and players and all that, and you swapped some swing videos, and you came down to spend a little time down at Old Palm with us a few weeks ago. And that was one of the most fun couple-hour sessions I've had in a hitting bay in a long time, not just watching you hit golf balls, but talking baseball. So thanks for taking the time to join us, and thanks for coming down to Old Palm a little bit.
Yeah, it was nice. It was good. It was a good course down there.
Yeah, it was fun. You got rained out a little bit when you tried to play.
Did.
When that rain stuff comes, it comes up quick down there in the summer.
Yeah, it did.
I wanted to talk a little bit about, I thought when we were in the hitting bay down there at Old Palm, and we were working on your pivot, helping you learn to load, and then really kind of helping you learn to unwind correctly from where you got to. And then somewhere in there, we got talking about hitting baseball, and you were telling some stories about like watching some guys today and the difference between how they're taught to hit today versus how you learned to hit. And I thought that was really fascinating because to me, like when I go through, and I love like traveling, you sit and watch baseball, at night, right, and stuff like that. And I always watching hitters. And to me, there's a lot of similarities between the way you hit a baseball and the way you hit a golf ball. And I'd love to just kind of pick your brain and hear some of those stories again, because I thought they were just really interesting for people that love golf.
Well, the thing about, hitting the baseball today, people is looking at launch angle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that when I played and guys before me, they didn't look at launch angle. Are you going to tell one of the best hitters in the game that I played at the time was Tony Gwynn?
Yeah.
To have a launch angle. And I think the game when I played it was about making contact, putting the ball in play. It's the opposite game now. The game now is swing as hard as you can and launch angle up in the air and see if you can home run. If you strike out, they didn't care. Before when I played, when you struck out 100 times, that was kind of bad for you. Now they're striking out 200 times and they're saying it's okay. But the game going now, you can strike out 200 times and make $25 million a year. When I played, you struck out 100 times, you was barely making $5 million. They would basically get you out the game very quickly. And just understanding the golf ball, the baseball, they're the same. You're hitting the ball with a stick. But I think the transition is with baseball, since the bat is so small, there's not a whole lot of lag behind the bat compared to the golf club.
Okay.
That lag behind it takes you, because once baseball players starts their hips, they're gone. It's kind of, once your hips go, your hands are coming along with your hips. And in golf, it's almost like, it seems like it's the same, but it's actually, the hips have to actually rotate almost, I would say, east and west. Baseball, your hips got to go almost north and south. Then your bat comes through.
Okay.
So if people think, in golf, what I've learned, working with you is that my rotating my hips, my hands and clubs are still behind. And then it just whips. In baseball, there's really not really a whip. Okay. And in baseball, if you have so much a whip or drag in baseball, they're saying you're late.
Okay.
And if you're late in baseball, you're going to almost miss the pitch.
So now is that and I think golf, though, is kind of undergone some of the changes like you talked about with baseball, where, with like the TrackMans and the quads and all the stuff we have, they started realizing optimizing launch angle and spin would help you hit it further. And like you watch a lot of these young kids, like I had a kid in from Clemson this week. I mean, that kid hits it, carrying it 350. They know how to maximize it, okay. Right? But and I think we've started teaching a little bit young golfers to create speed, hit it far. Then we'll figure out how to help you learn to keep it in play and to play golf, which is to me kind of similar to what you're saying. Baseball's changed a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just don't understand. They want to hit it far. Yes. Baseball, you want to hit it far. What they're trying to do is hit it far because they want the guys to hit it out the ballpark.
Right.
But they don't care about, I think last year, they had 9 players hit over 300. And I think they bat on that place same path or lower for this year. Again, if I would have played in the game today, they wouldn't look at what I do as nothing because I'm not hitting home runs. They only care about home runs in this game today.
Don't you think as a fan, I don't think it's as exciting. You get a lot of strikeouts. You do get the home runs. But like the baseball I grew up with, where a guy would get on base and you try to get him to second so that a guy could hit one to the opposite field to get him in or whatever. To me, that's entertaining and fun watching, but it's certainly not the same.
Again, that's when they I felt like once they got the analytic people in from, Princeton, Harvard, or whatever those guys, the Ivy League data that comes into the game, it feels like they created something new to the game, and it took the same feel away from baseball. So baseball is not the same feel you get because of the analytics, and it's not like the tough part I feel about what the analytics doesn't record is the human element.
Mm-hmm.
The human element to the game of baseball, they're not taking in that consideration, because a guy can own me, or a guy can, probably be against me. He can probably, I'm 1 for 20. But all of a sudden, when I come and face him this time, he don't have his same stuff, because maybe he had a sore finger or a hangnail he had trying to blister or whatever. But now they're saying, that's the part that the analytics can't incorporate in there, because just say the guy has a blister, he can't snap that curveball as much as he want to. So now that curveball is more a little flat than normal, but all of a sudden the pitcher won't tell the hitter, oh yeah, I have a blister on my finger, so I can't snap my curveball. But the analytics will say, oh, Kenny, you're 1 for 20, you can't face him today. But knowing there's a blister on his finger, and yeah, Kenny, you didn't hit his curveball or whatever because of he had this snap curveball, but today he's not throwing that snap curveball because he's throwing something else, because that blister is on his finger. Little stuff like that. It can't, or the guy's not feeling that good, or something is going on. Analytics can incorporate that. And then you got these guys with this list of paper on their wrist and hands. And I'm like, the human element is pitch to pitch. It's almost like they have a list of things, what they're supposed to do because of the hitter. But I look at it as, if a pitcher, I'll just say with the pitchers, almost like the Braves staff back in the day.
Okay.
They threw the ball basically where they were supposed to throw. Hitters nowadays don't do that anymore. So you can say, oh yeah, you're supposed to play this guy going to left field or going to right field because the pitchers knew where to throw. Now the pitchers throw so hard, they don't even know where they're throwing, and they don't know how to pinpoint their strikes of where they're throwing and hitting the zone. So when you have a guy look at his wrist and say, oh yeah, I was supposed to play. No, if the pitcher is not pitching his game, you can't play
analytics
hitter the right way because the pitcher is not doing it the right way.
Well, there's a lot, and I think the same with golf. I think all those numbers are great. And I think I had a conversation with a tour player this morning about wanting to get some more data and all that. And I think all that stuff's good, but there's a huge difference between what happens on a range in a building versus 9 holes to play and you're 2 back or 3 back or you're teeing off on the first hole in a major. I mean, analytics are great and data's good, but I don't think that somebody asked me the other day, you think AI is going to take the place of teaching golf? And I just don't see. I think first maybe some beginner stuff, but there's still a huge human element in understanding your player and his tendencies. Also, like, when's the right time to try to tell him to improve at something or to say something? I'm sure you had coaches in your career with all the great stuff you did. To me, great coaches find the right time and the right ways to communicate things and get you to do things. It's not just talking it into a phone and they tell you what the hell to do.
Well, the thing about, I'm going to always use the human element as the corporate to all this, because I'll just use Bryson as a perfect example. Bryson does all this analytics so the good thing the difference between golf in baseball. Golf, the ball doesn't move. It's almost like, well, you can say baseball and golf. If you put a ball on a tee for me in baseball, I will put it wherever I want to put it. Okay?
Okay.
I can do it. But when the ball is moving, there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So because in golf, there's no pitcher throwing the ball at you with some type of spin rotation that when he threw this one, it snapped a little bit less than the other one.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Becoming the most valuable sports franchise in the world doesn't happen without risk. A man who's willing to bet it all, and the players ready to make their own luck. America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, is the story of the 1990s Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones's impact on NFL history. Featuring interviews with iconic 90s players and more. Watch America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, August 19th, only on Netflix.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Think about it. So if a pitcher throws a curveball and he didn't get his bottom finger or whatever the right way, that ball is not going to spin the way it's supposed to. So that's the human factor. But this analytics is saying that if he throws a good one, it's going to spin this way. Okay. But what if he doesn't? What if the ball is a little slippery, and that's why the guy's always trying to cheat and try to put stickum or whatever on the ball, try to put something on the ball so he can have that continuous motion of knowing how to throw the ball to make it turn. So that's, again, the human factor that's different from baseball to golf. The different thing in golf is the ball's on the ground. It's not moving right, but it could be in a divot. It could be in certain type of grass, bent grass compared to kikuya and all that kind of grass will affect the situation. So there are ways or things in golf that affects the situation. Well, wind is in both, but not as much in baseball as it is in golf. But again, no matter what, you can tell Bryson or Tiger or whoever, you can get up there and, like Tiger always try to learn how to fire my hips. What if he didn't fire his hips at that time the right way? The ball's not going to go with the way it's supposed to go. Again, human element. So there's a lot of human elements to both parts of it, and there's a lot of movement. So the baseball, the pitcher's movement, the golf is the elements that your ball is sitting on, grass, tee, high, fluff, flyer, all that comes into play. If you tell a guy just say golf will be different if if every ball you hit, after you hit, you get to put it on the tee. Then golf will be so much easier. A guy striking the ball better than they did with different elements. That's the difference that people need to understand on both sports.
Now talk about the similarities. Like you mentioned if a ball was on a baseball was on a tee, and when you were in the hitting bay at Old Palm, you were talking about if the ball's coming in, and you could place it. If it's coming down, you could place it. How does that transition at all? How do you transition that ability? Because you're one of the great hitters. How do you transition that to when when you've got 140 yards in and there's water to the left, you're a left-handed player, right? And it's a little safe. I mean, how do you transition that ability that you have from baseball to golf, if you can do it at all?
Well, it's not that, because everybody thinks it's easy. It's not that easy understanding golf and the transition. But the good thing that baseball players have than most, normal people playing golf is the hand-eye coordination. We knew how to adapt to where if we're swinging and our body is not in the right position, we still have an ability to adjust the hands to make contact. It's a feel of adjusting your hands compared to your body, because your body can move a certain way. But if just say the ball has off speed, you think it's coming in faster, and your body jumps out, as long as you're able to keep your hands back, you're able to try to manipulate your hands to make contact to the ball. So that's what a lot of baseball players can do in golf, is that even though sometimes their hip didn't fire or they didn't turn their hips in time, they still understand that my hands is my last resort to make contact to the ball. And we know how to kind of manipulate our hands to make contact to the ball. It might not be perfect, but it will be in the area that what you need to do to at least not be in the water, like you said.
Right.
I knew how to make my adjustment to keep it away from the water.
And I think as golf has progressed, and like you mentioned, Tiger, like teaching golf, developing young people, we're getting great athletes now that come and want to play golf as their sport. When I was coming up, maybe not so much. Everybody played baseball or football. And I think that's also one of the advantages of some of these kids that were good at a bunch of sports, really good athletes. Like you take a guy like Koepka. I mean, he's a great athlete. He could have played some other sports or whatever. Like that they've got that ability you just talked about. Not only can we can build strength and speed and all that, but then you add that with the fact that they've got great hands and great hand-eye and ability. Shit, it makes them even better, right? I mean, when you've got a great athlete learning the proper mechanics and the stuff to play golf.
Well, athletes, again, great athletes know how to make adjustments. And I think that's the major thing in sports is you make an adjustment. I feel like the guy who don't succeed in sports doesn't know how to make an adjustment, because just say, other than golf and, there's a defense and there's an offense. The defense is trying to stop you from doing what you're doing, and the offense is trying to go around what the defense is doing. So you have to make that adjustment, and you have to make it at times on the fly. And if you know how to make that on the fly, that makes an athlete become a greater athlete than the norm because of the adjustments.
Right.
And that you can see a young hitter real great or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. He's so good. Then all of a sudden they start to figure him out. So they started making adjustments to them. And now he has to make adjustment himself. And if he can't, he's going to struggle. So
isn't that what happens to young pitchers? Like when they go through the lineup once and nobody's kind of seen them and, they have success. And then somebody like you comes on, you've seen them once or twice. It's got to be way easier if they don't learn to adapt.
Well, yeah, if you don't learn how to adapt. But again, every hitter, just because you saw them in the second time in the lineup, you don't know how to make that adjustment. Everybody's different. And you got to try to counter what they're trying to do. Because you're right, you've seen him around the thing. Either he's going to do the same thing, in which most smart pitchers would keep doing it until you make an adjustment. If you don't make that adjustment, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. So once you make an adjustment to him, once you make an adjustment to him, just say a pitcher struck me out or whatever. So I'm going to try to figure out, is he going to make an adjustment or is he going to do the same thing? So it's more of a cat and mouse trying to figure that out. But I say, if a pitcher, you get me out, you better do the same thing. But if I'm a great hitter, he's going to have to make an adjustment because he got to say, you know what? I got him out. He's going to probably do something different. So like I say, it's more that cat and mouse back and forth trying to figure out how can I get this guy out now? So, and great hitters know how to make that adjustment. And sometimes either a hitter or a pitcher, somebody's just better. I mean, you got to tip your hat to some guys sometimes and say, hey, I'm my number. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Last question. When we were working, one of the things we kind of helped you understand, I felt like, was your idea was like trying to load or move the pressure going back. You knew it needed to get back into your trail leg, your left leg, but you did it more by sliding or lateral movement. And your left hip kind of went up. We helped you learn. I felt like a lot of it, we put you on some balance discs and some stuff, learn to move the pressure back to your trail side with rotation and turning and loading. And I want you to comment on that for a second, but how is that different or the same than what you would do if you were waiting on a baseball to come in as far as the loading the trail leg?
See, the difference is for me, I didn't look at it as the same, but actually you load pretty much the same way. But I didn't know that. I didn't understand that because, again, the ball is not moving. So the golf ball is not moving. So I was trying to figure out, how do I load when it ain't moving compared to baseball? I know I got to load because it's coming, and it's actually the same. But I think for me, learning with you guys over there is that it was always my transition from my backswing to my forward swing.
Right.
I was trying to understand in baseball, my backswing goes back and you go forward. In golf, your backswing, you go back, you start forward, but then you turn. So it's like I kept going forward without turning, in which you've taught me to, when I go forward, I turn, I start almost a forward motion, and then my hip fires east and west. And I was always going north and south without really turning. So I kind of went north and south and had a slight east and west.
Late, kind of real late.
It was late. So I had a late east and west. But then once I learned to turn east and west early, I was able to feel the drag of the club. And then only thing was that from that point, once you got in what they call the slot, my hips got me out of that slot. Before I was getting my hands to get out of the slot. Now my hips is helping me get out of the slot. If that makes sense.
Oh, well, totally.
But for me, I always thought my hands, and when I did, my hands kept pulling across my body because of that reason. So now I'm learning for my hands, my hips to take over. So my hips made my hands released. Before, I was letting my hands make my hips released. So it was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And I made it work because, again, my hand-eye coordination.
Right.
And then once I felt like I was staying back and then pivoting, I took less effort to swing the club. And before, I was tired after hitting balls all the time. Now, I'm not as tired because my hips, the strongest part of my body is my lower half, and that was doing all the work. So
that was an awesome summation of the lesson there. You did great.
It was a lot, but yeah.
No, Kenny, that was awesome, and thanks for taking the time. But teaching a lot. It was so fun hanging out with you for those couple hours of just talking baseball. hopefully we'll get to do it again. If I get out to California, maybe we can play some golf.
Okay.
It'd be fun. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for sitting in, and send some videos so we can keep you headed in the right direction.
All right, I will. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kenny. Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero. And look, recently, several teachers I know and several players have had some scares with skin cancer. In fact, I recently went and saw a dermatologist here in town, and I had a couple things frozen off, eyelid, my face, my earlobe, and not getting any younger. And I know it's getting to that time of the season where it's cooler, but look, being in the sun is a real deal, and I've not been very good, to be totally honest, my whole career at using it at all because I didn't like how greasy it was, how hard it was to get off your hands, how it clogged up my pores. And then I found this sunscreen, Visor Skincare. It's clear, it goes on, it doesn't dry you out, it isn't greasy, it's like you didn't put anything on it. By far, it's the best sunscreen I've ever used. Without a doubt, is the easiest to use. And we've got a discount code for all of you. All you have to do is go to visorskincare.com, is use our code word DewSweeper. visorskincare.com, code word DewSweeper. I just want to remind everybody something that I forgot. Recently, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I went out. We went to a wedding, and afterwards with some friends, we were like, hey, where's a great place to go? I'll be honest, like, in my travels and day-to-day, sometimes I get caught up and I forget some of the great places right around the corner. But I got to remind you about the Icebox Bar on 755 Monroe Street. I was blown away by just the whole vibe, the atmosphere, and with the Velvet Pig, the food in the back room and the big screen TVs up front. We sat there and watched some playoff games. I was blown away by the atmosphere, the vibe, and just how cool it was to have the Icebox Bar right here near the Dew Sweepers downtown, near where I live. You're looking for a great place to go sit, watch some games, hang out, play some pool, you got to go to the Icebox Bar right there on Monroe Street. There's a good chance you'll see all of us hanging out. But do yourself a favor, go visit the Icebox. It's one of the best places out there.